Is Odell Beckham Jr. on his way out? Welcome back, guys. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Odell Beckham Jr., my conversation I had with him over on Twitter, and my overall thoughts on how I feel this situation is going to go. Before we get into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let's dive in. So Odell Beckham Jr. and I were talking a little bit on Twitter, and there was definitely some back and forth, and I really appreciate Odell for the time. You know, at the end of the day, I was basically conversing as a fan, but this is not the first time that Odell has talked to me or responded to me on the platform, and it's turned into a media fiasco, big, story, if you will. I don't always get the credit for it. Appreciate those that did credit, my tweet, but that's happened before. So this was really interesting because Odell kind of gives you some breadcrumbs as to what's going on with the contract, discussions. I mean, he's been linked to the Ravens, the Patriots, the Bills, the Rams, the Giants, the Browns, all sorts of teams. And I mean, rightfully so. He's a free agent. The Rams don't just have dibs on him. They're going to have to sign him to a deal. But it was really interesting to see Odell kind of come back in response to, me saying, obviously the fans want you back. The Rams want you back. There's a locker for you. And Odell, throughout this process of just, responding, just said basically, in his own words, he hasn't gotten a good offer. He's been lowballed. And the Rams haven't really shown him, that they really value him. And so he was talking in the past tense. And I think a lot of fans liked, and I saw this on Twitter, a lot of fans liked that, he was talking to me and they thought that was cool that we interacted. But there were a lot of fans that were panicking, and I was not. I'm not going to. I think that Odell, at the end of the day, will end up with the LA Rams. I think this is a leveraging play. As much as I love the guy, he's got to make his money. He's got to make his bread. This is a business. Obviously you can have loyalty, but there's a business here. And, I think right now there's a couple things that are happening. The first thing is that, look, Odell, he's a free agent. He's going to have some fun with this. He's not ready to come back and play football yet medically. So there's no need for him to rush. He's going to visit the Bills because Von Miller's a friend of his. He's going to hang out and visit some teammates with the Giants. He's going to visit the Rams. He's going to visit the Saints and watch his buddy Jarvis Landry play football. I don't look too much into that. But what I will say is that he's working hard to get back. He's not just on Twitter all the time. And furthermore, what I'll also say in regards to that, on the other side of things, the Rams, can you blame them for not signing Odell right now? It's not necessarily about the money, because I think the money overall, I think at the end of the day, the money will be there. The Rams will make it happen. But you have to understand something here. They are putting guys on the IR that could be playing right now. I mean, Van Jefferson probably could have been back by now, but they needed the IR spot, so they could not wait any time. This team has been plagued by injuries. They can't afford to sign Odell as much as I love it. They can't afford to sign him to a deal, because if they have to put him on IR and he's ready to come back before IR, he has to sit now on IR for 4 weeks. So they'd have to hash this deal out right now, essentially. If they wait until after the bye, that's 4 weeks. They don't want to have him sit out for 4 weeks, so you'd probably not put him on the IR. What that does is now it takes away, a spot. It takes away, a roster spot if you keep him around. So it's not as simple as just signing Odell. But it could get a little scary because the Rams are dealing with injuries, and there are other teams that are. But if the Kansas City Chiefs feel like, hey, we'll sign you right now, we'll give you the money up front, we like you, you'll stay in our building, we'll keep you on the 53, you'll be inactive, and we're not going to put you on IR, and you'll be ready to go when you're ready to go. If you feel like you can do that, if you feel like your depth is okay and you don't need that 53 roster spot, every single one of those, then yeah, you do it. But as of right now, I feel like the Rams are kind of in a corner here, backed into a corner where, they'd love to obviously give Odell his money. They'd love to be able to pay him. They'd love to be able to bring him back. And I think they plan on doing that. But they also have to have it make sense. Signing Odell right now and having him just sit on the 53 and not bring him on the IR doesn't really make a lot of sense right now, because they're running out of, species. They even had to waive a guy that made the roster back-to-back years, a draft pick in Jake Funk, and they lost him in waivers. He ended up, after waivers, he didn't want to sign to the practice squad with the Rams. He went to the Saints. So there are things like that come up. And so, I would just say for those of you out there that are really concerned about Odell not coming back to the Rams, first off, that says a lot about the impact he made on this organization and this team. And I think a lot of people agree, without him, they probably don't win Super Bowl 56. But at the same time, it has to make sense for both sides. And that is the nature of the business. Now, okay, this is where the business aspect really comes into it. Odell has interacted with me multiple times on Twitter. Okay. I'm a Rams guy. I'm verified on Twitter, and I interact with the fan base. So it's going to keep that buzzing. So business-wise, it does make a lot of sense for Odell to talk to people like me and Sosa Kremenjas, who used to host Locked On Rams, my friend Sosa. We're both verified. And again, we both cover the Rams. It makes sense for Blaine Grisack, who's verified, who used to be with DTR, now he's with Turf Show Times. If he were to interact with OBJ, it makes sense to interact with him. The reason being, it keeps your name out there. Look at, everyone is hanging on Odell's word. I mean, that's really what it's coming down to. And I already told him he's more than welcome to come on this show, DTR, whatever show. I don't know if it would happen, but, he's always welcome. But the whole point of this is you have to say, look, like, I get it. It doesn't look great. The word usage, like using things like, yeah, they did. They I felt, they did, things like that. But at the same time, you have to understand that it is a business, and it wasn't that long ago that now starter inside linebacker Bobby Wagner of the LA Rams was very much sounding like he was going to sign with the Baltimore Ravens. I felt like the whole time he was going to sign with the Rams. People tried to tell me, no, he's going to go to Baltimore. I can already see it. He's taking the visit. It's over. And sure enough, he ended up signing with the Rams. It's a leverage play. And what I think OBJ is doing right now is playing the leverage game. And I think the Rams have done that to some extent, showing the interest there, constantly having Jalen bring it up. Okay, we're not moving your locker out. Like, Odell's still got a locker with the Rams. Sean McVay bringing up constantly, we want him back, we want him back, we want him back. And now it's up to the front office to make it work while not also crippling their team. You can't give Odell all the money, because if you give him all the money and you kill your cap, then God forbid some serious injuries go down, you can't even sign anybody off the street. So it's not as simple, for those of you that are blaming the Rams, it's not as simple as just signing Odell. And on Odell's side, it's not just as simple as signing with a team right now. He's not going to be ready to go tomorrow. So he would have to either stay on the 53-man roster, which most teams can't do at this point in the year, or go on the IR, which he missed 4 games. It's not an easy solution. There's not an easy one. I think ultimately this is why he was going to wait. I said it. I've maintained that. And ultimately, I do think he ends up with the Rams. Again, I think it's a leverage play, and I think it's a damn good one. And I appreciate it because it's helped me out too. I've got a lot more followers, a lot of people that, have some respect, for me because, I've been talking to Odell. So appreciate Odell. This is not a knock on him. Just, letting everybody that's out there panicking, skies falling, all of that. I think it's going to be okay. I don't think it's the end of the world that he's meeting with other teams. I don't think it's the end of the world the way he talked. He did come back later on in that conversation and brought up things like if he does come back, he'll be wearing number 7. Now, Bob Waterfield has number 7 retired with the Rams. So unless he's going to contact Bob Waterfield's estate, I don't know how he's going to get 7. But what I will say is I don't think he just is saying that. I mean, there clearly probably is something there. But I'll also say this. I don't care what number Odell wears as long as it's with the Rams. He's a hell of a player. And I think he's going to come back off this second ACL tear, and I think he's going to be really darn good. And right now, I mean, I think people are really concerned about Allen Robinson, and rightfully so. But, I do think that they can all work together with Odell. I don't think it's Robinson is the end of Odell. I didn't think that then. I don't think that now. And I don't think that, there are too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. I think you need all hands on deck. And for anyone out there saying, we don't need Odell, we need an offensive line, good luck finding offensive linemen at this point in the season. I mean, In my opinion, Treader, who is like running the Players Association, I think he's done. I think he's retired. I don't think he's coming back. And that would be the only guy that I think would really make an impact. So at this point, you have Matt Skura, you have Ode Ibushi. Those are your free agent acquisitions you grabbed. We'll see what they do. Odell, probably not until mid-November. I'm just saying, you might hear some things. Maybe the Rams pull the trigger sooner. But and this might honestly be a little good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that, him and I have that dialogue and, got the ball rolling and maybe show some urgency with the Rams. It shows, he's not saying this about Buffalo. He's saying this about the Rams. And I think he really wants to be there. He continues to stress that. And I think I honestly think it's a good sign because, he's doing all this and this can lead to, okay, the Rams are like, all right, well, we don't want to lose him. And if he feels that way, then, we're not done. Sean McVay did come out during the presser after he was asked about the tweets. And he said they haven't made a final offer. He values Odell. They all do. And they haven't made a final offer. So don't keep your hopes entirely up to the point where like you get sick over this thing because it's not worth it. But don't bail on this because I definitely feel like Odell will be back with the Rams. So much so, I'm going to parlay these two takes. I think Odell ends up a Ram, and I also think that the Rams are going to trade for Brian Burns. So you heard it here first. I've already put the tweet out there. Now I've put the video evidence to support that I believe in this. I believe that when it's all said and done, at the deadline, the Rams are going to have Odell Beckham Jr., and they're going to trade for Brian Burns. I believe that because I think Brian Burns is available. I think he's to be had. I know people are like, but they don't have a first rounder in 2023. I think the Panthers would do it. Imagine you give them a second rounder in 2023 and a first rounder in 2024. I think they do that. I do. Maybe that's even too much, but he would be the long-term guy. He would be like getting a Jalen Ramsey. You get a guy like Robert Quinn, probably more like a Von Miller who won't be back. But I've already said it before, and I'll say it again. Brian Burns makes sense. Now it's time for me to put my name against this. I believe Odell and Brian Burns will be Rams by the deadline. So at least Brian Burns will be a Ram at the deadline. We'll see if Odell signs afterwards or before, but that's my point. I think both guys will end up being Rams at the end of the year, and I think Odell will sign probably a 2-year deal, maybe a 3, and I think Brian Burns is going to sign long-term next year. They're going to figure out a way with that 5th-year option. I think they're going to sign him long-term, and I think he's going to take over that Aaron Donald, like all the money they gave to Donald when he retires. I think Burns will slide in there. So that's how I have it. Just a quick video here. Just wanted to kind of update my thoughts on all this because I didn't really make a video, and I had a lot going on. My birthday was Tuesday. Went to the Yankee playoff game, and so I just wanted to keep it real with you guys. If you guys don't follow Twitter, because not everyone does, I did have conversations with Odell, and I'm just kind of giving you the deets on them. So that's that. Appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed this or you enjoy any type of Rams content, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. I'm curious what you guys think. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and I'm out of here. You guys take care. Later.